Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to How to Be a Boss channel, and today I want to talk about staying away from women at work if your aim is to be scandal free and make the most of your career if you are a man. The Me Too movement was really needed to stop sexual harassment and the assault of women in the workplace by men. The movement highlighted the problems that women face in the workplace and the need for the behaviour of men to be put under the spotlight. All of the stories that came out about the now disgraced and jailed Harvey Weinstein were appalling, and no one deserved that type of treatment from any human being. If you want to be a boss, then you should have no romantic intentions towards any female colleagues. I don't care how attractive she is or how amazing her personality or body are. You need to focus on the job in hand to move up the career ladder. If you are a true alpha male, then you'll have plenty of options inside and outside of work to choose from. And it's much better to choose a woman who you don't have to work and engage with on a daily basis. Very few people are able to separate their personal and their work lives, and normally the two can spill over into the other, which can make life very confusing. Can you imagine if you have an argument with your girlfriend at home who now becomes your colleague at work 1 hour later, where there's obvious tension? It will mean that both of your work will suffer, as both of your minds will be on each other rather than the tasks at hand. Not to mention that you'll both be the office gossip, where everyone will be discussing your relationship and where it is heading rather than discussing the merits of your work, which is the last thing you want if you want to excel at work. US Vice President Mike Pence has been married for 35 years and actually takes working with a woman a step further. Mr. Pence stated that he never eats alone with a woman who is not his wife, and he won't attend events featuring alcohol without her by his side. Mr. Pence doesn't want to put himself in a situation where a woman he works with or knows can make any allegation against him due to his high position in the government. You could say that this is a controversial move which many women in the media didn't like, but if you dig deeper, then you can understand why Mr. Pence made this rule. He has worked years to get where he is now, and probably had to put in many extra hours to get promoted. He married his wife and knows that he can do his job at an exceptional level, so the only thing that can possibly bring him down, apart from temporary incompetency, is if he puts himself in a situation where a woman he works with can accuse him of a misdemeanor, such as the Bill Clinton and Monica Lewinsky situation, or current President Trump and the 25 women who have accused him of sexual assault, which he denies. If you have not seen the film Disclosure, then that is another reason not to get too close to any woman at work. In the film, Meredith Johnson is promoted to run the CD-ROM division, which her ex-boyfriend was expected to receive the post. Meredith calls Tom into her office to discuss some operations, then sexually forces herself onto him. He initially reciprocates, then rebuffs her. Meredith, angry at the rejection, screams a threat to Tom for spurning her. The next day, Meredith has filed a sexual harassment claim against Tom. The company demand that Tom accept a reassignment to another location. His career will be ruined, however, as the other location is scheduled for sale after a merger which would leave Tom jobless. Tom then employs an attorney who specializes in sexual harassment cases to fight the untrue allegations against him made by Meredith. Every step of the way through the legal process, Meredith lies to make the situation worse for Tom, until she is finally exposed through a recording of the incident. Meredith is fired and Tom wins the promotion he wants. However, when a woman at work makes a claim, then most people will most likely believe her over you, unless you have concrete proof that the allegations are baseless. Unfortunately for Andrew Weatherby, he had to go through a similar situation to the character Tom in the film Disclosure. Weatherby is a married man of 50 years old, and a female colleague was sending him an increasing number of explicit texts. She repeatedly pestered him for sex and told him about the fun that they could have together. Mr. Weatherby said he felt intimidated and offended by his much younger colleague and begged her to leave him alone. But when he threatened to report her to their boss, she threatened to make his life hell, as she is a single, crying mum, and threatened to get him fired if he complained. The woman then sent a series of mocking emails and messages to Mr. Weatherby's wife, telling her to imagine her husband cheating on her. Mr. Weatherby finally made a formal complaint about her behaviour, but he ended up getting suspended for 5 days before she was, and was eventually sacked. The tribunal into the case agreed that he had been sexually harassed by his colleague and also victimised by his male boss. In conclusion, if you want to get the maximum out of your career, then it's better to be safe than sorry, and you can only guarantee this if you take out all the potential dangers in the workplace, like Mr. Mike Pence has done with his rule. Mr. Pence has avoided any sort of lurid allegations against him by his female work colleagues by not being one-on-one with them most of the time, unlike former presidents Mr. Clinton and Mr. Trump. As you can see, it's not only people in high positions that can be vulnerable, as the cleaner Mr. Weatherby will testify. You can easily be the victim, but have the whole situation spun around to make you look like the guilty party and ruin your career and your reputation in an instant. It's an unfortunate situation now where any sexual allegation is not dealt with on an even playing field, as the moment a woman mentions assault, everyone will be on her side before the facts are even laid out. If you really want to stay away from danger in the workplace, then the safest route is to stay away from your female work colleagues.